CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a fatal crash in Lambton County from this afternoon, killing 2 people. According to provincial police, a sedan collided with a commercial pickup truck just before 2 p.m. at Lakeshore Road and Aberarder Line. In addition to the 2 fatalities, OPP say a 3rd person has minor injuries. They expected an extensive closure at the intersection while carrying out their investigation. They're also asking any witnesses to contact them. Relief from former AccuRide workers today after their union announced a court victory last night, securing a multi-million-dollar payment from their old employer. With more on the reaction, more than a year after they lost their jobs, here's Jerry Dewan.
When AccuRide closed the doors of the London plant in February of 2025, a surplus was found in the defined benefit pension fund.
When they went bankrupt, the employer took the position it was their money, right? And we said absolutely not.
Unifor 27 President Brian Chapman consulted with the union's national office, and when they didn't offer a solution, Chapman didn't hesitate, hiring a lawyer to try and secure the funds.
We were initially being told it was $2.7 to $2.9 million. And it's actually, when the court order came back, it was $4.7 million.
Now the courts have sided with the union, awarding the surplus to the workers.
Where the hell did that surplus come from, other than the people that were working there paying into it?
Pat Murphy worked at AccuRide for 42 years, acting as plant chair during a portion of that time. He credits union leadership for standing by the workers.
If it wasn't for Brian Chapman and our local, we wouldn't have got nothing done.
Well, the building that was once home to AccuRide is now being retrofitted to become a multi-use space. The workers who were employed here are also looking to move on with their lives. An employment power center was established at Unifor 27 headquarters after AccuRide was shuttered. The power center provides job search supports and training opportunities for workers from various auto-related industries. Originally supposed to be open for just a year, is now being funded until February of 2027.
We're trying to do anything kind of training-wise to get them back on the road to employment.
A court-appointed counsel will determine how the pension money will be distributed, with length of service a principal factor. Chapman says once legal costs are paid, there should be about $4.1 million going to between 300 and 400 people.
It doesn't always go this way. There's not always a win like this. We feel really good about it, to be honest, even though it's a really bad situation.
The union says there are other outstanding issues, including vacation pay and severance pay, that still have to be worked out. Chapman says that could bring another $500,000 to former AccuRide workers. Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
A London tenant is sharing their story after escaping a serious apartment fire that injured 9 people. With more on what that experience was like and why they're calling for better fire education, here's Sean Irvin.
Jamie Warren is recovering inside their apartment 1 month after suffering serious injuries in a blaze at 241 Simcoe Street. Jamie spent over 3 weeks in the hospital.
My airway was really badly burned.
Jamie's ordeal began around 6:30 in the morning of April 4th. Bells suddenly sounded in the building operated by London Middlesex Community Housing. False alarms are common, so Jamie took a few moments before evacuating her 2 cats. The process of getting down the stairs was a slow one, as they normally use a walker or wheelchair to aid with mobility. Around the 8th floor, it became clear it was not a false alarm.
And there was a lot of, the smoke was so thick that I couldn't see anything as soon as it happened.
Then, for an unknown reason, a door to the fire floor suddenly opened.
It suddenly got extraordinarily hot, hotter than I've ever experienced.
Given already compromised health, Jamie knew they were in trouble.
At that point, I knew that I had maybe 30 seconds before passing out from smoke inhalation.
Jamie then called out to firefighters who came to their rescue. They got them down the remaining flights of stairs and into an ambulance. That's when they realized they were more seriously hurt than they thought. Jamie had a burned throat just above their vocal cords. They tell CTV News they were placed in a medically induced coma for several days.
They basically were trying to protect my airways while I recovered enough to be able to breathe.
Released from the hospital just a few days ago, Jamie is working to heal their voice enough to rejoin a local choir. In the meantime, Jamie is trying to find a man experiencing homelessness whom they passed in the stairwell before firefighters rescued him.
And he was not waking up to the alarms.
Looking back, Jamie is grateful to emergency responders and building staff for getting everyone out. Yet they believe fire education is needed for all tenants.
Because it's so much hotter and more dangerous than people realize. Like, it took 1 or 2 breaths of air for me to end up with second-degree burns.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
A coroner's inquest resumed today, looking into the death of a Sarnia man shot dead by London police. The inquest heard from police use of force experts and why lethal force may have been used on the night in question. With more on the proceedings from day 2, here's Nick Paparella.
A coroner's inquest has heard that 29-year-old Justin Barassa of Sarnia was stopped by police officers in downtown London in the early morning hours of October 28th in 2021. As they were trying to arrest him, there was a physical altercation, and Barassa put one of them in a chokehold. Sergeant Kevin Easton, a use of force trainer with London Police, testified, if you're in a rear naked choke, the level of dominance the person has that's behind you is so great. Once the arm is wrapped around the neck, it's the worst position you can be in. To stop the chokehold, Barassa, a former tennis instructor who dealt with mental health issues, was shot in the neck and chest area. The constables had mistaken Barassa as a suspect in a possible break-and-enter in the Richmond Row area that night. And once he placed the officer in the chokehold, Sergeant Easton was asked why officers wouldn't have simply shot Barassa in the leg or arm to defuse or de-escalate the situation. He said during an imminent threat, officers are trained our target would be center mass. Being able to shoot someone's extremities would be very difficult. On Wednesday, the inquest is expected to hear from Constable Ryan Hendrick. He is the London police officer who was placed in the chokehold by Barassa. The province's Special Investigations Unit cleared the officers involved of any wrongdoing. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
Woodstock police say they've laid a murder charge related to a suspicious death from March. Officers say they were called to a home on March 12th where they found a man's body. Today, police announced 20-year-old Romario Henry faces a second-degree murder charge and he remains in custody. Police say Henry and the victim knew each other, but no other information about the circumstances will be released at this time. A multi-billion-dollar announcement from the provincial and federal governments meant to spur housing development has thus far had the opposite effect in London. As Daryl Newcomb reports, the number of building permits issued since seems to have stalled.
It's not until shovels get in the ground that houses get built.
But it's not until the city issues a building permit that shovels can go in the ground. And at London City Hall, the number of building permits for new homes has declined since this joint housing announcement by the Prime Minister and Premier about spending $8.8 billion to cut municipal development charges, also called DCs, in half for 3 years.
If you don't cut DCs, you aren't getting any money.
Without firm details or timelines, city staff say local developers have paused their building permit applications, waiting for those development charges to drop.
Since the federal and provincial announcement on March 30th related to the potential lowering of development charges, there is a hesitancy for applicants to actually want to have their permit issued.
Development charges are fees paid to the municipality to cover new infrastructure costs related to growth, like extending new roads and sewers. Currently, DC charges within London's urban growth boundary range from between about $34,000 on a row house to $50,000 on a single-family home. And those fees are due to be paid when the building permit is issued.
There's just a fear that they might lose out on that reduction of the DCs, so we're very hopeful that there will be a future announcement from the province and the federal government.
In the interim, city staff say they're working with builders and developers to advance their permit applications as far as possible so that when the program does launch, they're ready to go.
I have flagged this personally several times to the CMHC because this is the most critical time for us to get those permits across the finish line.
In fact, the clock is ticking for City Hall to achieve its federal housing target, which would unleash millions of additional dollars for housing programs.
We have some targets that we have to hit in September to get another $20 million from the Housing Accelerator Fund from the federal government.
Councillor Steve Lehman believes the development charge reduction will spur housing starts, but not until developers start applying for building permits again.
The federal government and the province have done the right thing in addressing that, but they got to follow through and come through with the details so we can get shovels in the ground.
CTV News is awaiting a response from Ontario's Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing about the timing of the DC reductions. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Gas prices are expected to rise again tomorrow. Industry analysts are predicting a 7-cent per litre jump overnight, pushing most Ontario stations to about $1.96 a litre. They also say diesel should rise 5 cents a litre, all related to the ongoing conflict between the U.S. and Iran in the Strait of Hormuz. The next phase of the federal government's return to office mandate is now in effect. Executives are no longer allowed to work from home, which, as Dylan Dyson reports, is raising questions about whether there's even enough space for everyone.
Federal employee Andrew Cormack isn't an executive in the government, but he's at the office regardless.
Yeah, I choose to come in 3 days a week right now, following kind of like the official ruling.
As of Monday, all executives in the public service are required to work in the office 5 days a week as the federal government continues to call its employees back to the workplace, citing a need to boost collaboration and culture.
I think everyone works differently, but you got to look at the value added coming into the office and whether it's there for you or not.
The return to office mandate will see more than 9,300 executives back in the office full time. In a statement, the Association of Professional Executives of the Public Service of Canada says executives are concerned about the lack of office space and the pressure of leading employees during continuous workplace change. As of July 6th, all other federal employees will be required to work in the office 4 days a week, up from the current 3 days.
I rarely personally see, I do interact with people at the office, but it's a very minimal basis. And the majority of my time collaborating with my teammates is just through Teams.
For me, I think 3 days a week, 2 days a week would be a happy medium. 4 days might be overkill, but that's just my personal experience.
The push to bring workers back to the office creating concerns over desk space and parking.
Mentally preparing for it, not excited about it, but I know it's happening.
I think one thing I'm not for is an umbrella, one-size-fits-all kind of approach to RTO.
Dylan Dyson, CTV News.
The former owners of a waterfront property in Bruce County have pleaded guilty for disturbing an archaeological site. They had planned to build a new home on the lot, but as Scott Miller reports, a years-long legal battle ensued, a battle they've now lost.
Ontario's Court of Justice took a rare road trip today to the site of an important archaeological site at the center of a potentially precedent-setting court case in Southampton.
I'm essentially standing on a massive and continuous multi-component archaeological site that's existed over millennia.
In November of 2022, the former owners of 6 South Rankin Street in Southampton were issued a stop work order and charged with disturbing an archaeological site after they started site work for construction of a new home. The site was deemed an important archaeological site decades earlier after thousands of Indigenous artifacts were found under the waterfront lot. Following years of legal wrangling, the former owners of 6 South Rankin Street have agreed to plead guilty to disturbing an archaeological site, pay a fine, apologize to the Saugeen First Nation, and most importantly, donate the land back to the Saugeen First Nation for restoration, free of charge.
Today, is a cause for celebration, with the Heritage Act providing accountability for what was done here.
At the request of the Saugeen First Nation, sentencing and tours of the site, along with historical context, took place outside of a regular courtroom today. A unique setting for a unique case that could set precedent for future archaeological disturbances along the Lake Huron shoreline.
It certainly is important to understand that this entire community is built on an ancestral landscape, and there are archaeological sites literally everywhere around us right now.
So what happens with this site now that it's under Saugeen Ojibwe Nation control? Well, the answer is probably nothing. Martin figures much of the archaeological examination of this site is complete. They know it is an ancestral spot. So this spot might just become a ceremonial and sacred spot for the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation for generations to come.
It's the mouth of the Saugeen River. It's only right that Saugeen First Nation be able to be here with their ancestors. So I think maybe that'll take priority over archaeology for the time being.
In Southampton, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Members of the local Indigenous community gathered at Atlosa Family Healing Services today, marking Red Dress Day.
Red Dress Day is to remember and to acknowledge all of the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and Two-Spirited people. It's a day to really grieve and to come together as community and support one another. It's important because it's genocide across Canada that our women are experiencing and our Two-Spirited people are experiencing. It's something that needs to be talked about, and as hard as it is and the harsh reality of it, it's something that needs to be brought to light. Indigenous women are going missing every single day, and it's not talked about. It's one of those things that, you know, you have to kind of come out to these types of events to hear what's going on, so that you can have a better understanding. We're very open to, you know, people coming and supporting and coming together and just, you know, giving us the chance to just talk and to just share our stories and share our perspective on how life is out there.
Later on CTV News, the search for a missing gong, what it means to a Southwestern Ontario Cancer Centre, and the successful mission to get it back. Tech stocks like Shopify brought Canada's main stock index down today. The TSX fell 72 points. In New York, the Dow gained 356. The Nasdaq added 258. The Canadian dollar lost a modest 0.03 today. On commodity markets, gold gained more than $35 an ounce. Oil fell $4.15 a barrel. Prime Minister Mark Carney announced Canada's next Governor General today. Louise Arbour is a former Supreme Court Justice and United Nations Commissioner for Human Rights. And with more on her resume, here's Judy Trim.
In choosing Louise Arbour as Canada's next Governor General, the Prime Minister recognized her dedication to upholding the law.
It's a duty that calls for sound judgment, deep learning, and an unwavering commitment to the rule of law.
The 79-year-old is a former Supreme Court Justice who left her deepest mark on the global stage. She served as the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights and prosecuted war crimes in international tribunals. Arbour secured a conviction against perpetrators of genocide in Rwanda and indicted the leader of the former Yugoslavia.
In 1999, in the middle of a war, she signed the indictment of a sitting head of state, Slobodan Milosevic, for crimes against humanity and violations of the laws of war.
The appointment comes as the U.S. undermines global institutions. This is a reminder of what sets Canada apart.
Above all, we all strive to provide for each other in a spirit of equality and generosity.
Arbour's deep resume may help Carney avoid his predecessor, Justin Trudeau's problematic choices. Julie Payette was accused of abusing Rideau Hall staff, while Mary Simon, the first Indigenous Governor General, is not fluent in French.
I think there is a space for the Governor General to be conducive of Canadian dialogue, with respect to diverse. I've mentioned the diversity of our people, diversity of views, of opinions, of experiences, but all that, I think, in a spirit of respect and moving the country forward.
Louise Arbour will officially assume her role as Canada's 31st Governor General in early June. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Good evening. Mainly cloudy conditions overnight, but the rain comes to an end, waking up tomorrow morning to a bit of sunshine. Thanks, Ange, for this photo of Cali If you are heading out for a morning walk with your pups, the temperature is 6 degrees and the winds out of the northwest. On the cool side, but some sunshine in the forecast heading through your Wednesday. I'll have your local weather details coming up in just a few minutes.
Welcome back on the desk with Julie now, and it feels like spring really taking its time to get going with some consistency, because it sounds like we're getting some more sunshine back tomorrow, but some milder temperatures will be nice.
Both. Can we get both at the same time?
Just put them together.
You know what? About a week today, things looking much improved with sunshine, temperatures back into the upper teens, low 20s, but temperature today close to where we should be for this time of year at 16 degrees, a normal daytime high 17. So comparing that with what's normal, we're not too far. We've had a cold front come through with scattered showers, and there was even a few thunderstorms last night in advance of that front that is now south of the Great Lakes. The rainfall associated with that front continues to drive along that frontal boundary, but high pressure builds in for tomorrow and it'll take that rain with it. We have some sunshine in the forecast and some nice conditions, although it will be cool tomorrow afternoon with the winds out of the northwest. That breeze ushering in temperatures that will be below normal. So normal daytime high anywhere from 16 to 17 degrees this time of year, and over the next couple of days 12 to 13 degrees. So some sunshine on the way tomorrow, a bit of sunshine for your Thursday as well. We'll go to a mix of sun and cloud. Slight probability of showers, although it's just a 30% chance, and it looks like we could squeak out a little rain shower heading into Wednesday night. Other than that, we're back to sunshine through the day on a Thursday. Now, unsettled as we head into the weekend. Friday, chance for rain moving back into the area. And Mother's Day is looking a little bit unsettled as well. So we'll get to that in just a second. Overnight lows staying well above freezing tonight, anywhere between 4 and 6 degrees, and the winds becoming light and variable. Waking up to a northwest wind, a bit of cloud cover first thing in the morning, but breaking into a nice mix of sun and cloud. The forecast high, as I mentioned, coming in at plus 12. Sunshine for your Thursday as well, and 13 degrees on Friday, a 40% chance of rain and 14. 19 for your Saturday with a slight chance for showers, and same weather pattern on Sunday. Now, both Saturday and Sunday, probabilities of 40%. That's not an all-day rain, so we likely will see just a light shower. If you are planning to do some outdoor fun things, perhaps a hike with your mom or just going for a nice little walk outdoors, you should get some dry time in there as well. Monday, a mix of sun and cloud and lots of sunshine. I mentioned Tuesday, we're back up to 18, and it looks like some beautiful springtime weather on the way. Midwestern Ontario, 12 degrees tomorrow under a mix of sun and cloud and sunshine as we head into your Thursday. Showers in the forecast on Friday, Saturday, and unfortunately the chance into Sunday. Although the forecast models have been a bit back and forth this week between that 30 and 40% chance, that is not a high probability. So if we get a little bit of rain, the forecast will verify, and as well we'll get some time to be outdoors. So that's the good thing. When the probabilities are low, it's not that all-day rain we're looking at. Mix of sun and cloud for your Monday, full sunshine on Tuesday, and the high is 16 degrees. So Carlyle, things looking good as we push through the next couple of days, although it will be cool. Grab your jacket if you're spending some time outdoors tomorrow. You'll need it with that cool northwest wind.
Thanks very much, Julie. Consumer experts say algorithms and dynamic pricing are becoming more common in Canada, with the cost of products fluctuating more frequently and in some cases by a significant amount. With more on the warning for shoppers, here's Pat Foran.
Whether you're looking for a coffee pot or big-ticket purchases like appliances and mattresses, prices will fluctuate. There's been a lot of discussion about dynamic pricing, changing prices based on demand, but retail analyst Bruce Winder says that's not new.
If you get your weekly flyers, you'll see prices go down for a week and then they'll go back up. And then maybe 6 weeks later, they go down again.
Consumer Reports just tracked 16 popular products to give shoppers a clear picture of how prices rise, fall, and fluctuate. Take this Shark vacuum.
One week it was like $119, and at its peak it was close to $200. So it would swing by $40 or $50 a week. We're seeing it with baby products, a lot of clothing and footwear.
While some retailers are experimenting with surveillance pricing in the U.S., where consumers are charged different prices based on their personal data, Winder feels it won't be prevalent in Canada.
Charging consumers different prices because they're different consumers is taboo. The reputational damage to the company would far eclipse any margin gain.
If you're trying to save money on electronics, consider buying an older model. TVs, phones, and laptops that are a year or two old can cost hundreds less. And consider refurbished products.
They take it, they clean it up, they replace parts, and you get it with a new 1-year warranty. I mean, there's no better deal in my mind than getting a refurbished item.
Certain items also go on sale at specific times of the year. AI can help research that. If you can hold off on a purchase, you could save money.
And you might find out that this is one of the items that is really used aggressively on Black Friday or Cyber Monday or Boxing Day, right? And if you can, you might wait.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Finally tonight, a ceremonial gong back where it belongs. It was reported missing from a Waterloo Cancer Center, later determined by police to be stolen. Krista Simpson has more on its return and what it means to patients who get to ring it.
This is a moment Jeff Kalin was waiting for, but one he wasn't sure he would get after this ceremonial gong was stolen from the Cancer Center at Waterloo Regional Health Network's Midtown campus, formerly known as Grand River Hospital. But the gong has now been found and returned to its place.
This is absolutely amazing. The gong is just the symbol of hope.
Hitting the gong away for cancer patients to mark a milestone in their journey.
33 radiation treatments, and I'm finally done.
The gong disappeared from the Cancer Center in late April. Its theft was reported to police on Monday. Later that same day, Waterloo Regional Police arrested a 44-year-old man and charged him with theft under $5,000. The gong recovered on Tuesday.
Our officers were able to continue the investigation and were able to locate the gong in the area of Victoria Street North, in Weaver Street West, in Kitchener.
News of the theft leaving many in the community upset and wanting to help.
Even yesterday, someone brought in a cymbal from their drum set just so that patients wouldn't miss that opportunity to celebrate their successful treatment.
This stolen item is very unique to the community. Obviously, it has significance to a lot of patients and families in the community. We're just very grateful that it has been located.
With the gong now returned, the hospital's patient advisory committee is already contemplating ways to ensure it remains where it belongs.
We're working on a new plan to improve the security and improve the use of the gong as a part of that celebration of successful treatment.
Something that I hope I never have to go through again. But you guys have been great.
Jeff Kalin marking the moment with a gong strike and gratitude.
Going through what we go through, it's tough, and I made it, and it's absolutely great.
Krista Simpson, CTV News.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.